Velheim is a Viking survival exploration game in a procedurally generated world that's been built specifically for all of the players that were turned off of Rust. If you loved fighting against PvE enemies more than other players, if you hated getting ganked every time you spawned to a teenager screaming at you, if you love really interesting gathering and crafting mechanics, if having fun playing with friends instead of turning against one another sounds like a good time, you're gonna fall in love with Velheim and spend all of your time captivated by an early access game that's already got an amazing foundation that's only gonna get better over time. Let's talk about why Velheim is a game you're gonna love. My name is Legionless and this channel is about helping you enjoy your games more. Make sure to subscribe to the channel if you want to get recommended more content on the channel, like some upcoming guides for Velheim. Follow me on Twitter so you can keep up with all of the new updates and games you need to know about. Velheim is really a survival game first and an RPG second. You start the game like any other survival game. You need to get rocks and wood to make primitive tools. You build your first home to survive against the elements. You pick berries and kill animals for food. All of that is here, but then comes the RPG. One of my favorite progression systems ever is leveling up skills by using those skills. It shows up a lot in the Final Fantasy franchise, like in Final Fantasy II and Final Fantasy XIV. And it really works here in Velheim. Use an axe on trees and you'll get XP for your woodcutting skill and your proficiency with axes in combat. Hunt animals and slay enemies with a bow and you get better at using a bow. Sprint and jump and you can sprint and jump more when they cost less stamina. The RPG elements also extend to exploration. There's a fog of war on your map, so you need to explore to find new areas and get better resources. Exploration isn't about just opening up the entire map because each new area has an increase in level. You start with just trees and rocks and move to being able to mine for metals, fighting against stronger enemies. What I love about Velheim's survival and exploration is that I don't just stay in one place forever. You need to set up new bases in new areas because it's just going to take you way too long moving back and forth. This forcefully pushes you forward into the unknown, but like when you leave home for the first time. It's scary being on your own in a completely new place, but it's an important step in growing. What Velheim does really well is pushes you to grow, and some of the best moments are seeing yourself grow from a Viking with nothing to a Viking with everything. Velheim is being compared a lot to Rust, and honestly for a good reason. Rust is pretty much the bar that's been placed for survival games because it's been around for quite a while now and keeps adding new things to the genre. Rust is also a very divisive game. You either passionately love Rust and play 16 hours a day, amassing over 100 hours in a week, or you play it and instantly uninstall. If you uninstall because you were getting pissed off about getting killed by people with fully automatic weapons and you just spawned naked with a rock, there's no ganking in Velheim. If you uninstalled because all you wanted to do was play the survival aspects of Rust, those aspects are better and more engaging in Velheim. Base building, in my opinion, is better in Velheim too. It took a minute to understand some of the nuanced mechanics, but I'm really glad they're there. Like Rust, you grab a hammer and workbench to set up different types of building structures to make a cool looking base. What I like more about Velheim is that there's actually physics in the game. You need to build support poles and beams to support the weight of your base as you build upwards, or else the base falls apart under its own weight. By the way, those same physics make chopping down a tree in Velheim the most fun I've ever had chopping down a tree in a game. The tree falls down and can even knock down other trees if it does enough damage while falling, so make sure to yell timber or you might accidentally kill a friend walking through the woods. Velheim is for players that love survival mechanics without those survival mechanics being ridiculously punishing. It's like Minecraft where survival is really heavy at the start and just becomes something you naturally deal with and it fades into the back of your head as you move on to the next challenge. It really can be just a big sandbox for you to play in, build and be creative in, and make your experience exactly what you want. There's no rails you're forced to stay on. You can do what you want, when you want, even if that journey is like hiking through the mountains without a beaten path, and all you have is a compass and a dream. If you love RPG style progression systems, it's the whipped cream on top of your perfect dessert, and being a fan of Viking and Norse mythology is the cherry at the tippity top. If you need fast, flashy gameplay or a ton of PvP in your survival games, Velheim probably isn't for you. It's definitely not a replacement for Rust if you're a major fan of the game. It's more of a game for the people that love everything about Rust outside of the PvP. It's basically like playing on a small Minecraft server, except there's more compelling reasons to explore and move throughout the world. They're talking about adding more PvP in the future, but right now, it's basically just a PvE game with friends, where two players can agree to a duel if they want to combat each other. Velheim is one of the very few games that release in early access in a state that an early access title should release in. So many games go into early access way too early and have really given a bad reputation to games in early access. I get wanting feedback to build and improve your game. That's completely commendable and a great way for players to help craft a game they want to play. But at the same time, it shouldn't be accepted to just brush aside so many bugs and fundamental gameplay flaws because a game says it's in early access. Especially when that game is charging players money, instead of doing free beta testing like a lot of developers are currently treating early access. The best thing about Velheim is that it's none of those things. The fundamentals are good, the core gameplay loop is solid, there's no game-breaking bugs, the initial experience is really good, as it gently teaches you the mechanics as you go. You don't need to go read the manual or go through some boring tutorial like it's 2005 again. The bones of a great game are already well established here. Velheim is a great experience that you magically find hours of your time missing because you were so wrapped up in the gameplay. It felt like a couple minutes of me chopping down trees and trying to get one tree to knock as many other trees down as possible, but it was really an hour of just fun and just going about the world. If there was a lot of things that you didn't enjoy about Rust that kept you from stuff that you really enjoyed, Velheim already has that, and they're already working on their roadmap to make the game even better. Make sure to subscribe to the channel for more game reviews and upcoming Velheim guides that'll help you enjoy the game more. Follow me on Twitter to keep up with all of the new and upcoming action RPGs like Outriders. I'm Legionless, thanks for watching.
If I could be a paradise.